Hey, what's up gamers? You have TigerChainsaw here, and I love Star Wars. Well, I used to, until Disney ruined it. But back in the day, Star Wars was an awesome franchise filled with so many great video games. Now the best Star Wars video game is Knights of the Old Republic. To me, that's a no-brainer. But it got me wondering, what's the worst Star Wars video game? Well, I think I found it. That is going to be today's review. Now, if you are a first-time viewer, or if you just haven't yet, make sure you hit that sub button to watch plenty of retro video game reviews that I've already done, and I've got plenty to come. Alright, let's go to everyone's favorite galaxy, far, far away, in this Star Wars Obi Wan review. Who's your favorite character from the Star Wars universe? For many, it's Obi Wan, as he has appeared in many of the movies. And it's no surprise that LucasArts wanted to cash in on the popularity of Obi Wan and release a game starring one of our favorite Jedis. In 2001, LucasArts released Star Wars Obi Wan exclusively on the Xbox. But let me tell you, this game is nothing but a pile of stinky poo-doo. Let's start it off with the plot of Star Wars Obi Wan, but spoilers will be ahead. The game starts a few weeks before the events of Episode 1 and ends with the duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. Obi-Wan is still a Padawan under the command of his Jedi Master, Qui-Gon. After the opening scroll credits, which are essential to any Star Wars movie or video game, Obi-Wan is sent to Coruscant to take down the criminal organization, the Black Heth. They've recently captured the Jedi Council's informant. Obi-Wan swoops in and saves the informant, and he reveals to Obi-Wan that the Black Heth has been supplied with weapons from arm dealers on the planet Oberdan. So Obi-Wan travels there to investigate the weapon manufacturer. The manufacturers are all an alien race called the Jinha and have created a special shield from the underground resources in their mines. This special shield is resistant to lightsabers, which, if sold to the wrong hands, could defend criminals against the Jedi. It turns out that the Jinha have been selling the shields to the Trade Federation. Now this is where the story meshes with Episode 1. On the next mission, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are sent to meet the Federation Viceroy, Nute Gunray, and inspect his facilities. The following missions closely resemble the plot of Episode 1, with the exception of Queen Amidala being kidnapped by Sand People on Tatooine. The game concludes with Obi-Wan defeating Darth Maul in a lightsaber duel, just like in Episode 1. Star Wars Obi Wan has a decent plot with a thread that leads up to the events of Episode 1. So what wrecks Star Wars Obi Wan as a game? The horrible, and I mean atrocious, voice acting for Obi-Wan. He sounds like a hobbit from The Lord of the Rings who is one or two veggies short of a full garden, if you know what I mean.
Choose sitting in Jabba's throne room, watching mind-numbing dancers, stuffing green tubers into your mouth. Choose rotting away at the end of it all, disappearing into thin air, nothing more than an embarrassment to the whiny kid you trained on the way to Alderaan. Choose your destiny, choose the Force. But why would I want to do a thing like that? I chose not to choose the dark side. I chose something else. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you've got a lightsaber?
It is so bad. I could not believe that LucasArts greenlit this. I've played a lot of Star Wars games previously that were developed by LucasArts, and all of them have really good voice acting. I have no idea how they went off the rails so much with Obi-Wan. They recycled the same sound effects for the lightsabers and switches. Why can't they get an actor who sounds similar to Obi-Wan? But that's not where my gripe ends. Controlling Obi-Wan is slightly better than listening to him. He runs like his feet don't touch the ground with his derpy body animation gliding all over the screen. I don't think LucasArts set off to make a terrible game, and there are some positive things that I will discuss about Star Wars Obi Wan, but when the biggest complaints are how the main character controls and talks, boy, do I have a bad feeling about this. Now, let me throw in a compliment real quick. Obi-Wan will slash his way through the levels and enemies using his lightsaber. With the right joystick, you'll control how he swings it. Moving the joystick to the right, Obi-Wan will attack the right side of the enemy, and moving it up, he'll come crashing down on them with his lightsaber, and so forth. There's a certain amount of skill required to fight enemies, and you need to pay attention to where they are blocking for Obi-Wan to effectively attack. You can use the Force by pressing the trigger button to jump higher, power up your lightsaber, go into slow motion, and push objects. But I barely used the Force. It was difficult to implement into the battle mechanics when slashing enemies was much more quicker and much more effective. The one Force mechanic that I did like was throwing my saber like a boomerang. You're gonna die a lot in this game. Enemies will gang up on you, resulting in your death. It's not uncommon to be overwhelmed by 20 thugs or battle droids all at once. If Obi-Wan played like a real Jedi instead of the dweeb Jedi that he's made out to be in this game, then it wouldn't be a problem. But his Force powers are useless, and once the enemy surrounds you, you might as well stick a saber in yourself. Speaking of sticking sabers in bodies, Qui-Gon is only happy when you shove your lightsaber in his ass. My favorite mission from Star Wars Obi Wan was when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were aboard the Trade Federation ship taking down battle droids on their way to Nute Gunray. But throughout this mission, Qui-Gon yells at you constantly to stick close to him and to hurry up. I would walk 5 feet away from him to grab health, and he'd freak out and start scolding me.
Hurry, Obi-Wan! Where are you going? Hurry, Obi-Wan! Padawan! Hurry, Obi-Wan!
Maybe because of how Obi-Wan talks, Qui-Gon thought he was so mentally incapable of doing anything on his own that he constantly had to tell him to stick by. He treated you like a toddler. You guys want to know what else sucked about this game? Of course you do. I found that because Obi-Wan was so incompetent in fighting the required enemies in the mission, it was best just to run through the level until the end. During the Oberdan mines and the Sand People camps, I just ran through them without even stopping to battle the foes, and guess what? It worked! You didn't need to kill any of them to proceed, although they did chase you until the very end. Other levels, like the Queen in Peril, give no direction on where you need to go or where you need to exit. You can spend a half hour just wandering around and looking at the same area over and over, trying to find a hole to climb or a lever to flip. If you aren't listening to some key characters, then you miss out on what you were supposed to do, because guess what? They don't repeat themselves, unlike Qui-Gon, who tells you to stick your lightsaber in his ass every 5 seconds. In the level within a palace, I needed to bring a girl up a couple of floors for her to hack the computers. I didn't know that and spent a ton of time trying to figure out what to do. I got frustrated and just killed her in my anger. Kinda sounds like a certain Sith Lord. Maybe Anakin had the right idea. If you aren't killed by the overwhelming number of enemies you face, then you'll probably die a few times falling off ledges. Obi-Wan will fall hundreds of feet to his death, but before he dies, he'll get stuck in a free fall animation for about 15 seconds before Mission Failed comes across the screen. The controls to Obi-Wan sucked, and it caused me to fall a few times during my review. Don't even get me started on trying to perform the Force jumps. Now at the end of the game, you'll fight Darth Maul just like the movie. The first time I fought him, I was able to drain him down to just about a quarter of his health. I was surprised that I got him down so low, as I wasn't the best in lightsaber combat. I went in for the killing blow, only for him to say something stupid about the dark side and refill his entire life bar. After a few tries, I was able to kill him thanks to a big hint about jumping and swinging down on him. It literally kills him in 2 strikes. Once you beat Darth Maul, technically you've beat the game, and God knows why you'd want to continue playing this game, but you do open up the Battle Royale. This is where you fight 8 other Jedi in the Council Room. No Yoda, but you do get to fight Qui-Gon, Mace Windu, and other recognizable figures. I was shocked, but I beat it on my first try. I simply just stood there and let everyone else kill off each other before it was just me and Mace Windu. I threw my lightsaber at him a few times and came away victorious. Ain't that a motherfucker, Samuel L? Aside from the story mode, the game does offer Jedi Battle, where you can fight against a friend in the arena. Now, I will say that this was slightly better than the main story, as you and your friend can suffer together. Obi Wan. Great character in Star Wars, terrible character in the game. LucasArts had a good idea with the lightsaber battle mechanics, but due to terrible voice acting, repetitive fights, clunky controls, this makes Obi-Wan wishing he was back as a hermit on Tatooine. Star Wars Obi Wan scores a 5.2 out of 10, making it a very questionable game. The only redeeming merits for this is the 2-player battle mode. Everything else sucks. So that was my review of Star Wars Obi Wan from 2001 on the Xbox. What is the worst Star Wars game in your opinion? Or if you liked Star Wars Obi Wan, you gotta tell me, what did you like about it? What are the good things about this game that I played? Let me know in the comments below, and of course, while you're there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, as it really helps me grow and you get to catch more retro video game content. Alright, thank you for watching, happy gaming, and make sure you play a video game today.